One of the craziest things about running is that when you actually get to your race, you're going to be totally amazed with how easily your race pace comes. It's crazy. In training, to be able to run, let's say, 8 miles at marathon pace or 4 miles at half marathon pace is super hard, and that's a really, really good workout. But when you actually get to your race, that first 8 miles at marathon pace or 4 miles at half marathon pace, that's only the first third of the race. That's where you're staying comfortable, and that's where you'll feel comfortable on race day. How the heck does this work? My name is Coach Chris Knighton, and you're listening to the Knighton Runs Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about cumulative fatigue and why you want to get to the very beginning of your taper when you're training for a big race, feeling like you've done everything you could and that you're barely hanging on. Today's episode of the Knighton Runs Podcast is brought to you by the Knighton Runs training group on Patreon. If you'd like to download training plans that I've created based on all the concepts I talk about here on the show and inside my book, Run Faster Marathons, The Proven Path to PR, just go to patreon.com/KnightonRuns and you'll learn how to start training like an athlete right away. Spring racing season is in full swing right now, and I want to give a shout out to some of the Knighton Lions who've run exceptional races within the past week or so. So big props to Shelly and Asha. These two women I've been coaching since about the beginning of the new year, and they've been working really, really hard all winter long getting ready for these races. Shelly, this is actually the first race that she did after training really hard throughout the Chicago snowy winter, and she was rewarded with a 4-minute PR in an 8K race. That's a 5-mile race in the Shamrock Shuffle in downtown Chicago. This is a race that she's actually done off and on for many, many years, but it's only now that she committed to really taking her running training seriously that she made this huge breakthrough. So it's awesome to see. And as she continues to train for the Chicago Half Marathon later this spring, she's going to just keep improving and run exceptional there as well. Also want to give a big shout out to Asha, who has been doing a whole bunch of 5Ks and 10Ks in New York City. And this past weekend, she did the first 10K that she's ever run with me, and she set a whopping 6-minute PR, basically a minute faster per mile than the last 10K that she ran a year ago. It's awesome to see the hard work of these two women turning into such incredible results. And this gets to the topic that I want to talk about today, and it's a topic of cumulative fatigue. This is how run training works, and it's one of the concepts that's foundational to getting better as a runner that's not very intuitive, and it warrants an explanation of how it works because you might not understand why you're doing the kind of things that you're doing in training unless you understand this concept. So cumulative fatigue and letting go of that fatigue before a big race. This is why in training, your race pace feels incredibly hard. Every run that you begin in training, when you're following a structured training plan like mine that is based on this concept, every run you're entering it in a state of fatigue. You're a little bit tired from the run that you did a day ago, even if that was a recovery run, and you're probably a little bit tired from the last workout that you did or long run that you did 2 or 3 days before that. You're never feeling 100% and ready to go at the beginning of a workout. This is going to make running any pace harder than it will on race day. The other thing is, you're not going to have the same excitement or motivation, purpose to that workout, even if you're really jazzed about doing that workout and want to give it your all, so much of running is mental. So much of your success is mental that it's hard to tap into just how fast you can go during an actual workout as compared to what you can do when it really matters at a race. You sometimes see people actually who we kind of jokingly call them workout heroes. They're people who perform exceptionally well in workouts. They often totally crush their workouts and run way faster than the prescribed pace, but then they fail to perform and do as good as their workouts indicate on actual race day. You don't want to be a workout hero. This is something you want to avoid. Whenever you're running workouts, you want to do them at the target pace that your coach has assigned or the training plan that you're following has assigned. You don't just want to crush that and blow it out of the water. There's a reason why the pace is the pace that it is. And running faster than that is not necessarily a good thing. So you want to avoid that. If you're training properly and you're doing as much as you're capable of, you will be under this state of cumulative fatigue. It's actually going to be quite challenging to run, say, 4 miles at half marathon pace or 8 miles at marathon pace. Heck, even doing a workout like 4 times 1 mile at half marathon pace is with a rest in between is pretty challenging during training. But I can say with certainty, both from my own training and coaching dozens of runners to half marathons and marathons, that if you can do a workout like 4 miles at half marathon pace in a 10-mile long run, then you can, with almost complete certainty, run 13 miles at that half marathon pace on actual race day when you've let go of your fatigue and you've let your full fitness come out. So often, athletes and the folks who I work with will feel a little concerned during training that, maybe they're not doing enough. Their long runs aren't long enough, or they're not doing enough miles at race pace. Or maybe they come back from something like a 16-mile run with 10 of those miles at marathon pace, and they say something to me like, "Chris, that was so hard. If I can only run 16 with 10 at marathon pace now, how am I ever going to be able to do this pace for 26 miles on marathon day?" Or they might say, "I've got this half marathon coming up and I feel like I've done no training at half marathon pace. I mean, maybe 3 miles in a single tempo run at half marathon pace, or, repeats of 3 by a mile, 4 by a mile, something like that, 5 by a mile." I get their concern. I get why they're thinking this. But what you need to remind yourself is that run training, effective run training, is all built around this concept of cumulative fatigue. In marathon training, when you run 16 miles, your body is tired on that Saturday or Sunday morning. It's as if the first mile of your long run is mile 10 in the marathon. So when you run 16, to your body, it feels like you're running 26. When you run a small portion at race pace, to your body, it's going to feel like what the later stages of that race pace are going to feel like. I often talk about the 3 C's of racing. That's the simple mental strategy for racing your best. The first third of the race, you stay comfortable. The middle, you build your confidence. And the final third is where you compete. When you get to your actual race, when you've gone through good training, you've tapered well, you've let go of the fatigue that you've built up throughout training, the race won't get hard if you paced yourself well and followed the 3 C's until that third segment where you're ready to compete. But just know that really on all of your workouts, that competition section kind of starts almost right away in the workout because you're tired going into it. Though you should still conceptualize your workouts in a similar way, break them up mentally, chunk them into parts, try to stay comfortable in the beginning, try to be competitive towards the end. Just know that the way you feel in rep 1 or rep 2 in a workout, that's so hard. That feeling, it's so hard. That's how it's going to feel in the final stages of your race. You're going to be amazed at the beginning of your race just how comfortable your race pace feels. The other thing I wanted to say that's a good reminder of this concept of cumulative fatigue is to get to the beginning of your taper when marathon training or half marathon training. That's a commendable place to get to. If you get there and you feel like you've done everything you could and hardly anything more, if you feel like you're on the brink of breaking down or you're just struggling to even complete the runs at that point, that's probably a good thing. You want to do as much as you can in the months leading up to your marathon so that 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out from your marathon, you just feel tired, like you've done a ton of work, still feel like you can't necessarily run that pace on race day, but just pretty much at your limit. And that's good. That means you've done the work and you're tired. Then as the taper unfolds over the final 3 weeks to 10 days before your big race, you want to step out of the way of your body. Rest, recover, eat right, drink right. Give yourself time and space for your full fitness to emerge. And only then are you going to feel like you can actually go the distance that has been your goal for months on end as you've been training for this race. It's only during the taper phase when you're following periodized training, when you're focusing on one big goal race, that your full fitness emerges and you can run such an excellent race. This is why the best marathoners only do 2 or 3 marathons per year. This is why people who do 2 or 3 marathons per year are a lot better than people who run like a marathon every month. It's because you can't be at your top fitness all the time. The only time you can be near your top fitness, your absolute peak fitness, maybe, is a couple weeks in the spring, a couple weeks in the fall, if you're training for a spring and a fall race. You're going to be quite a ways away from your peak fitness for most of the rest of the year. And that, again, is by design. It's going to let you run your best possible race when it matters. So I'm recording this on the last day of March 2023, and I have a whole bunch of athletes running in the Boston Marathon, the London Marathon, and a whole bunch of other spring races. If you've got a big race coming up and you've had any of these feelings of doubt or uncertainty come up within your mind in the past few weeks or month, just know that you're not alone. Everyone goes through these feelings. Remind yourself that you're going to be amazed how easy your race pace feels on race day. Think back to the most successful races you've had. I guarantee you've always been amazed how easy your race pace came. And the same feeling will come to you in your upcoming race. If you let go of the cumulative fatigue that you've built up all throughout training, have a good taper, and allow the time and space for your full fitness to emerge. To be the best athlete that you can be, to run the best times that you're capable of, you have to follow a periodized approach like this. You can't just go out and run everything hard constantly all year round or kind of do the same thing all year round. But if you've been following a structured marathon training plan focused on one key goal race, trust that process. Know that you've been going through the process that's by design meant to make you tired and meant to make you feel like it's hard. Like maybe you can't go the pace that you need to go. But trust me, when that fatigue is lifted, you can and you will. Believe in yourself. You can do it. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening to the Knighton Runs podcast. Again, this has been Coach Chris. If you liked today's show or learned anything from it, I'd love if you would leave a review in your podcast player and make sure that you're subscribed to the show so you don't miss the next one. That'll really help spread the word of the show and get it out to other athletes who can benefit from it as well. And I want to leave you with 3 ways that you can improve as a runner right away. These are things I can help you out with. Number 1, make sure you've gotten a copy of my book, Run Faster Marathons, The Proven Path to PR. It's a great primer to the concepts that I talk about here on this show, and it really succinctly explains everything you need to know about marathon training. You can get a free copy of that on my website, knightonruns.com/book, or get a paperback or Kindle copy on Amazon. Number 2, if you'd like to get training plans and join a community to support you in your running, these training plans are based on the concepts of cumulative fatigue and incorporate all the types of workouts that I touched on today. You can go to patreon.com/KnightonRuns and check those out. And number 3, if you're potentially interested in working with me on a one-on-one capacity, I do offer high-touch one-on-one online run coaching for athletes who I think I'd make a good team with. You can go to knightonruns.com/coaching to learn all about how that works, and you can apply there if you'd like. We can set up a time to chat on Zoom and see if I could help you out. All right, thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.